Hello everyone and welcome back to the Aftermath series. Critical Role has finally returned and I could not be more excited. Y'all, we are finally home. So, without wasting any more time at all, let's jump right into episode 100 of Critical Role. So of course we pick up right where episode 99 left off, where the party is being pursued by a dragon turtle as they attempt to journey to Rumblecusp for TravelerCon. And in this scenario in particular, we finally got to see Travis and Ford pull out their captain's knowledge and their expertise at sea. And we really got to see Ford utilize the mechanics that Matt had made for the party's time at sea. And all of these different mechanics being used, and Ford being the spectacular captain he is, especially in this scenario, we haven't really had a chance to see it very often, if at all, really. And honestly, what better way to test out all of this knowledge and using the ship to its full capabilities than against a dragon turtle? And honestly, the chaos that was ensuing, people yelling at each other, running around, not fully knowing what to do or what to expect, I was definitely getting some serious Sea of Thieves vibes. If any of you have played that game, you could definitely understand where I'm coming from. But all in all, as this battle between the dragon turtle and the ball eater went on, the party was doing pretty well. They were able to keep ahead of the dragon turtle and just pepper it with cannonball shots, and things were fine. But then the dragon turtle got closer and closer and eventually sunk beneath the waters and disappeared under the ship. And now this is where the real stress started to settle in, as now it's just a waiting game as everyone is silent, waiting for it to appear again, but we all know what's going to happen. And then it did happen, but a few moments later, the dragon turtle surfaced, striking underneath the ball eater, doing a decent amount of damage to the hull. But the party scrambled around, recovering from this incident and firing back, and Jester even managed to polymorph a dragon turtle into a regular sea turtle. Definitely a lot more manageable. And so with the dragon turtle now being turned into a regular old sea turtle, the party decided to full speed ahead and try to leave the area and outrun this sea turtle. However, the party quickly realized that the sea turtle was actually able to keep pace with the ship. And then Matt even said that the sea turtle is actually faster than the dragon turtle. Fantastic. Just so good. And so with this new information, the party decided to do a little water skiing, I suppose. Caleb, Jester, and Not, and Caduceus previously decided to go into the water while still tied to the ship to attempt to polymorph it into something else. Now Caleb's first polymorph failed, and then Jester decided to maybe try to polymorph it, but then she realized that if she fails this polymorph, then her previous polymorph would break, which means the sea turtle would turn back into a dragon turtle. Now, of course, Sam, being the agent of chaos that he is, wanted Jester to still try. But Jester used her better judgment and decided against it. And so Caleb tried once more to polymorph the sea turtle, and it was successful. And the sea turtle became a little sea slug. Definitely a lot easier to outrun than a sea turtle. And so, leaving this little sea slug behind, the party went full speed ahead once more, and they were able to outrun their adversary. And so then we just had a few days of just regular old, mundane travel out at sea. Caduceus did commune with the Wild Mother just to get a little bit more information on this dragon turtle's whereabouts. All he was really able to get was that the dragon turtle was indeed trying to pursue them, and they had a little bit of a head start, so they were okay for the time being. Caduceus also learned from the Wild Mother that this dragon turtle is intelligent and can be potentially bargained with or reasoned with. And so, of course, when Jester found this out, the first thing she does is send him a message. And oh boy, did I miss Jester's sending. But sadly, we didn't get too much information out of the sending spells, only that the dragon turtle seems to be set on following the party and taking what it wants from them. I'm sure everything will be fine. And then after all of these sending shenanigans, we had a little bit more time of just mundane travel. But eventually, land was spotted on the horizon, and the party has finally reached Rumble Cusp. It has been a very long time coming, and it's so crazy to finally be here. You know, I had similar emotions and reactions to when we finally arrived at the peace treaty, because Rumble Cusp and the peace treaty have been things that we've talked about and heard about for so long, and now we're finally here. And so the party unloads and begins to set up camp on the beach of Rumble Cusp. The party did a little bit of surveillance, and Frumpkin actually did discover that there is a community, a village that lives on this island. A community of people of different races, wearing tattered clothing that seems to have worn away, but they've woven in some leather elements, some plant life into their clothes. At the moment, they don't seem hostile, but again, we have no idea who these people are. And Jester did commune with the Traveler, and the Traveler did say that there were dangers on this island that they may need to fend off. He could be referring to this village, or he could be referring to the various predators that are most likely on this island. So I would just like to take a second to compare the interactions between Jester and the Traveler and Caduceus and the Wild Mother. With Caduceus and the Wild Mother, it's very calm, it's very simple. The Wild Mother sends her responses through nature, through the wind, the waves, the birds. It's very serene. But with Jester and the Traveler, it's like, hey, what's up, buddy? Yo, hey, sit down, let's have a nice little chit-chat. Very, very different. But anyways, upon discovering this village, the party decided to scout it out, maybe see what they're all about. So the party began their trek into the jungle. Now, of course, the flora and fauna of such a jungle is going to be quite beautiful, and as we know, Yasha collects flowers, so she decided to pick a flower from the jungle to add to her collection. She found a gorgeous purple flower and couldn't help but to just smell its sweet scents to see if it has any unique qualities. And upon smelling it, she developed a overwhelming urge to devour this flower, mainly due to a failed wisdom saving throw. But then she did manage to suppress the pain she felt upon ingesting it. I can only imagine it would have inflicted acid damage, probably, but she's used to eating strange things growing up in Xhorhas. Before we go further, I should mention that there is a strange and mysterious mist, a thin layer of mist on this island that really shouldn't be there. And as the party is traveling, they get a creeping sensation that they're being watched. You know, they keep looking over their shoulders to make sure they're not being followed. And eventually, Caleb does notice a pair of eyes watching and stalking them as they're traveling. And so he casts tongues on himself and just speaks out loud, making it very clear that they are peaceful and they're just trying to get to the village. However, more of these eyes begin to pop up and they hear growling. And then these creatures reveal themselves to be displacer beasts, and they begin to encircle and surround the party, preparing to attack. But then, out of nowhere, a massive bear wielding an axe, I believe it was, just comes charging out of the tree line and just starts to wail in on these displacer beasts. Two of them just absolutely book it. They're like, yo, fuck this shit, I am out. But then the one poor displacer beast just gets absolutely destroyed. And then a second of these bears comes running out and joins in beating up this poor displacer beast. The party doesn't do anything, they're more in shock at what just happened, and then once the displacer beast was dealt with, Caleb thanks them for saving their lives, and then these bears, their forms begin to shimmer and change into more humanoid forms. These people now reveal themselves to be Pono and Jaina. They hail from the village that the party is going to. And of course, this now also means that these two people are werebears, which is absolutely badass. And it seemed like, kind of seemed like Yasha was a bit intrigued. Maybe we might get a werebear Yasha arc. Pono and Jaina ultimately agree to guide the party to the village where they can meet everyone else, especially the leaders of the village. Along the way, the two give a brief history and explanation as to why this village is here. They seem to worship a god, a fire god to be exact, that goes by the name of Vokodo, and it seems to be based around this volcano. They view this volcano as the center of Exandria, and they pay tribute to this god by mining the various precious gems and shiny objects from the mines in the mountains. Now, a fire god that resides in a volcano that accepts precious gems and shiny objects as offerings, which makes you wonder, what exactly is this god? And the first thing that came to my mind was that Vokodo is actually a dragon. The Phoenix avatar was also thrown in there, but I am definitely leaning more towards dragon. As the party continues traveling, they just keep asking various questions about why they're here, more about the religion, and it's strange. A few of the members of the party were asking them what their lives were before, or what they were doing before, but the two of them couldn't give them a straight answer. They were sort of confused, maybe. They simply just said that what happens before doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is that they're here. Destiny guided them here. And another thing to note is that the party's feeling of being watched and pursued hasn't gone away. They still find themselves looking over their shoulders even after the displacer beasts were taken care of. What is really going on this island? Regardless, the party continues, and they eventually do reach this village, where they hope to learn more and meet the leaders. The leaders being Lukash, Terra, and Viridian. Viridian is the spiritual leader who the party hopes to speak to first, just so they can get a little bit more information on this religion, the island, and all of that good stuff. As the party makes their way through the village, they are met with awe as the various people that reside within this village are excited to see newcomers. Eventually, the party is brought to Lukash, who gives them a very warm welcome. And then, behind him, descending from a vine, Viridian steps forward, a half-elven druid, I can only assume, with this long staff and a leg that is made completely out of vines and flowers and leaves. Viridian also welcomes the party and asks why they're here. She asks for their story. And with that question being asked, the episode ends. Holy moly, what an absolutely fantastic episode 100. I have just so many questions. What is the deal with this mist? Is the party gonna wake up in the morning and not remember who they are, and are they gonna think that they've been here forever? Is it a time-altering mist where time doesn't really exist in this area? Is Vokodo actually a dragon? And then the biggest, most mind-blowing question of all, is Viridian Keyleth's mother? The evidence definitely supports that Viridian is in fact Keyleth's mother, as Keyleth's mother was described to be a half-elf druid with a missing leg, with a name that starts with V and I. And Viridian, obviously Viridian starts with a V and I, and she's a half-elf druid with a missing leg. So yeah, I think for the time being, since we don't have any more information, it's probably safe to say that she's Keyleth's mother, yeah. Which is just absolutely insane in itself. But with all of that being said, we are going to wrap up. Let me know all of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions for that episode. Y'all, again, we are finally back. Critical Role has returned. We're home. It just feels so good to get back into things. Be sure to check out the What the Sheep podcast tonight at 6 p.m. CST, where me and a few other critters will be discussing this episode in greater detail. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic, fabulous, wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you all next week.